Hi, my name is John Light, and I've spent over 20 years working throughout all corners of the recruiting world. Our podcast, Drowning in the Tech Talent Pool, is a resource to help you stay afloat and get ahead of your competition. Hi, and welcome to Drowning in the Tech Talent Pool. I am your host, John Light, president of Sabretooth Recruiting, and joining us in this episode is Dr. Anthony Rhem, or he just goes by Tony, which I'm grateful for. Tony, welcome to the show.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here and be a part of this show and podcast, and just ready to have a great conversation.
Well, I'm looking forward to it because what people may not know about you, besides being an author, published, have books out in circulation, you're also somebody who brings a high level of expertise in AI and knowledge management to the table. And I wonder if you could, by way of introduction, maybe give a synopsis about yourself and what got you to where you are today and where your real interests lie when it comes to this, I guess you could say, technological revolution with AI that we're going through nowadays.
Right. I have a passion, I developed a passion for computer science, computers back in high school, and evolved in my undergrad at Purdue University, where I had a double major in computer science and marketing. And it just went from there. Got the opportunity to have positions in IT, started at the bottom, a developer, and moved through the ranks over the years. The one thing about technology is that it's always changing, as you know.
Right.
And as someone in the field, you always need to continue to hone your skills, get better at what you want to do. And I found that, okay, if I'm going to always be attending some training session or some course or learning something, I might as well get a formal education within the technology space as well. So I started, I enrolled and got accepted, of course, at the master's program, master's in computer science at DePaul University, where at that time, I also found that the computer science curriculum offered a variety of specializations. And at DePaul in Chicago at that time offered artificial intelligence. And this was back in the mid-'80s. And you can imagine what that looked like. And so that's where my passion for AI started.
A lot of theory, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, because you didn't really understand all the aspects of it. But yeah, a lot of theory, a lot of foundational knowledge, but a lot of exercise, a lot of practical use. Because we developed programs, we learned Prolog and Lisp. That's languages back in the day that we wrote different systems with, expert systems, developed neural networks at that time, and really taking a deeper dive into different aspects of AI, because AI is a multidisciplinary science. It includes robotics, machine learning, which has a lot of subfields in machine learning, natural language processing, vision, virtual reality. Those are some of the subfields. As the AI started to evolve from what my focus was, expert systems and neural networks, I later got involved with something called knowledge management. I was 10 years into the AI piece where I got introduced to knowledge management. And I said, well, wow, this is all knowledge management, and AI is all about knowledge. It's all about insights, all about understanding how to capture that and make it available across your organization or to multiple people. And so I dived into knowledge management. I was just really fell in love with the discipline and brought a lot of technical expertise to knowledge management, because knowledge management is all about people and process, and then technology as an enabler. I later got back into AI, and this was like for knowledge management from around 1998, 99 to about 2010, 2012, I'm knee deep in the knowledge management. And then I started to see where AI was getting some traction. Mm-hmm. And some of my friends, my colleagues say, "Oh, Tony, AI is making a comeback." It says, "Well, you should be, really, opportunity to really get involved with that." So I slowly started to get back involved with AI, and specifically from the areas where I had expertise and expert systems and neural networks. But AI, with the advent of big data, machine learning became the go-to technology in AI. Then, as you know, it has evolved over a number of years, and now we have the push for generative AI, from a text to image to video and voice, and which is really taking the market by storm. And companies like OpenAI, which backed by Microsoft, you have Google with their Gemini offering, and Bard is also another generative AI platform. And they got so many that startups that are in that area, in that space now, is growing like crazy. So
no, they're bubbling up
technology,
everywhere.
and specifically AI, evolved through that. Yeah.
So let me ask you this.
That's kind of my journey in a nutshell.
Well, let's talk about part of that, because you're also a published author, and I know you've got a book that's coming out soon. And I know you bring a level of expertise into this space that most people either A, don't have themselves, or B, don't even have direct access to. So maybe share a little bit about what you've done in terms of writing and topics, and what would pique someone's interest, especially with your new offering that's coming out.
Okay, I can start by my first book, which is in 2005. It's UML, Unified Modeling Language for Developing Knowledge Management Systems. And what that book focused on is actually, how do you model knowledge, different aspects of knowledge, and how people think. You have decision trees, you have this procedural type of knowledge, but how do you capture that in a model perspective to then be used in at that time, a knowledge management system? But if you fast forward to now, what I wrote in 2005, you can see as a foundational piece for knowledge graphs. Something like knowledge graphs have taken that science to another level. So and I'm going to skip over my latest offering, my book that I found really something I really wanted to put together. It's Essential Topics in Artificial Intelligence, where I take a deep dive into 10 relevant, what I believe is relevant topics in AI. And it's large language models, artificial general intelligence. It includes ethics and governance, and aspects about the future of AI. So, and I was very fortunate to have colleagues contribute to that Future of AI chapter. And so, by having that type of touch point with industry experts really helped evolve that book. And my other two books was before that, Essential Topics in Information Architecture, because that talks about the layer of architecture that enables content to be consumable and to be leveraged on a platform. Maybe you go to Amazon, maybe you go to some other site. It enables you to have better organization structure of content and knowledge, so you can actually search for it better, organize so you can navigate to it better. And so it includes metadata and taxonomy elements to enable that content to be surfaced and used in a more consumable manner. And of course, one of my favorite publication that I spent 3 years writing, it came out in 2016, is Knowledge Management in Practice, and where I dived into several industries where I've worked, from healthcare to insurance to financial to military, and it dives into those aspects of those different industries, with adding some details and depth on search understanding search, understanding information architecture, like I was talking about earlier, and strategies for knowledge management. So it's a I think a go-to resource for people practicing knowledge management and people wanting to know more about knowledge management. So I really enjoyed putting time into writing that book.
So let me ask you this: if somebody wanted to pick up one of your books, I'm assuming you're on Amazon, and they could just look you up and pull it. And when does the latest one hit?
The latest one, Essential Topics in Artificial Intelligence, will be available in December as a ebook, a Kindle book, and hardcover sometime middle of January 2024.
Okay. Yeah. So by the time this podcast drops out to the public, anybody who's listening to this can grab that book or any of the other books, either by digitally or hard copy. And I got to tell you, at my age, I like a good hard copy book in my hands versus a Kindle.
Oh yeah.
And I understand not everybody does, but as I was listening to you, and it fascinates me to think about all the work that has gone into where we are today that has been happening in years past, wherein what we're really trying to do is put how you think into a structure on paper, and for basic stuff, because we don't think about what it takes, for example, to do minor tasks that our body almost does autonomously, like breathing, for example, or blinking or winking. I know people who can't wink. They cannot physically close one eye. They have to close both. I mean, you just think about all the things that go through your brain, or when you're growing and developing on from childhood through into adulthood, that have to happen in order for you to be able to process and do these things. And you're in a time which I know people today think, well, it was the Stone Ages back in the 80s and 90s. No, it wasn't. We all thought the people back in the 60s and 70s were in a Stone Age. We thought the people in the 50s were in a Stone Age. And that's where really most of the theory around AI came into being, was back in the 50s. Yeah. And
absolutely.
It's just fascinating to me, because we're talking about breaking down sometimes very minute things, very small things. And it's not the same as if you look at instructions or knowledge. How do you make a PB&J? Okay. Well, I mean, we can fight crunchy or creamy. We can have arguments about, strawberry, grape, whatever, white bread, wheat bread, pumpernickel, whatever a person thinks. But if you ever think about what goes into producing a PB&J, assuming you have the ingredients you want, right? And the thought and the knowledge and how to spread things and how to do this. And I mean, it's fascinating. And now we've reached a point where computing power and capability allows us to teach a machine effectively. At some point, it'll make PB&Js the way we want them every time.
Exactly. And it's just extending that ability to a robot or some system that will create the put the food together for you. As long as it has, like you say, it has the ingredients, it'll put the food together for you. And so we are heading in that direction, right? So where the house is on automatic, and IoT enabled appliances allow those appliances to do things at your command, and future applications will enable those appliances, like your refrigerator, to have sensors to understand, oh, I'm out of milk, I need to order milk. Oh, I'm out of lunch meat. I'm out of certain ingredients you need to make a sandwich or a soup or whatever. And the refrigerator will automatically order that from nearby grocery store with your credit card and have that delivered to your house. So it's the infrastructure that we are now kind of putting together to have a future where a lot of our machines are doing the work for us. Is that good, bad, or what is that? So
that's a good question. That's a relevant question.
Yeah. but it'd be good in some aspects when you're not able to do those things. But you don't, in my mind, you don't want to have reliance on machines or computers to do everything, because that you become less creative. You become, lazy from a mental perspective. You always want to keep your mind sharp and doing things that you enjoy from a mental perspective, and not have the computer, come to a place where it does everything for you. Well, with AI, it's going that direction.
Well, I was like, let's talk about that for a second. Okay. Because look, you were a college athlete, and you understand this. If you spend the entire off season not dribbling, not shooting, not passing, and you're eating pizza and hanging out, eating wings and pizza, watching film, yeah, you're going to have some more knowledge about how to play the game. But when it comes time to actually play the game, you're going to fail.
Miserably.
Miserably. And, I remember in high school, our high school coaches telling us on around May, when we're letting out for the summer, and the next time we're really going to be in as a team is going to be 2-a-days, right? And coach was saying, all right, if you don't get in and lift, X number of times a week and do this and do that, you're going to fail. You're going to really be hurting when August comes around, right? And we're not going to succeed because the individual links didn't prepare themselves to be part of the team. And I think that's something. I was reading an article just earlier this week where the author was putting forth the idea that AI is going to help alleviate wage gaps, compensation gaps between top performers and the bottom echelon of performers. And they weren't talking about necessarily gaps between, gender pay gap and this sort of thing, but just in terms of performance, say in a sales organization or some sort of operations. And the point is that people who are really good, who are experts in their field, who excel, they don't need AI to do anything for them in particular. It kind of gets in the way at this point. But people in the bottom 20%, if AI can help them get into the middle of the field instead of the bottom of the field, they're kind of closing the pay gap. And companies will eventually say, well, I need to hire more of these cheaper people than more of these expensive people, and bring average wages down lower and help close the gap from the top down as well. And I remember I was reading that thinking, that is a very academic way of isolating a scenario and looking at it, and not taking into account that we all make our own choices. And just because AI does drafts a letter for you or a presentation, that doesn't mean you're going to make the choice to really put your own personality, your own touch into it, to tailor it for your audience in a way that only you knew intuitively, or what your gut's telling you to do. We're still going to make those choices, which causes separation in that. But it struck me, to your point just now, reading it, doesn't it kind of make us lazy to where I don't feel like I need to earn my way into whatever's next to my career, but rather it should just come to me because I can look it up through OpenAI or Chat or Bard or Copilot or whatever.
Well, you bring some interesting points to this conversation. One, I believe you will still need subject matter experts in the field to make sure, like that letter, you have Chat GPT, whatever, craft that it's in the right tone and voice, and has some of the nuances that you need to have in there. So you still need that. What's happening with AI tools? So they are increasing productivity, and I think people who know how to leverage those tools in the best way are going to be able to take advantage of that productivity gain with that max productivity gain with AI tools. Right. It's going to be the ones that can use them versus the ones that don't use them as effectively. If you are a person with has that experience, has that knowledge, and don't use the AI tools, I think you should also use the AI tools to help even increase your productivity and sharpen your skills that much more. Even though you sit from a perspective of being a subject matter expert in the area, you also are improving the tools and help training the tools to be better, to assist folks who are using the tools more more than you are, or more essential for their performance. So I still think you're going to need those subject matter experts. You may not need as much, but each organization needs to make that determination, and each person needs to make a decision on how they're going to leverage the tools to the best of the best of their ability and the best of the tools' ability. The other piece that we don't think about is the ethical piece of this, right? You got to have the ethical use of AI and the ethical development of AI tools. So we got to make sure they're right and they're delivering ethical and reliable insights and knowledge for you. But also you want to make sure that if it's going to replace people, that you have a path for people to reskill or upskill in areas where the company will be able to leverage them, where they can be able to be leveraged. So it's that aspect of ethics and governance and responsible use of AI that comes into play as well. So you have to think about those things too.
So I read the synopsis of a study that stated something like 85 million jobs are going to go away over the next few years related or because of AI, but that there's going to be 96 or 97 million new jobs created as a result of that. And I think we're kind of veering into territory I know you and I have touched on before, and I know you've put a lot of thought into this. There are going to be a lot of avenues for people to upskill or reskill themselves into.
Right.
I think, and this is just my opinion, I think when companies are able, there is something of an ethical, maybe even a moral obligation to help people find options to reskill or upskill in different directions. And I'm not talking about paying for a 4-year degree, but get them started on the road to become something different, something more, something novel, something in demand with value. Because I don't think it's right to just take value from people and never get back. But I'm curious to get your thoughts on some of the areas, and we don't have to get super specific for time's sake, but some of the areas that you see from your thought and your studies and research that are going to explode with demand for people over the next 3 to 5 years as a result of AI, Gen AI specifically, proliferating and being adopted into the marketplace?
Wow, that's a good question, and it also depends on the industry you're in, right? So, and the advent of AI is going to assist in the medical field with patient intake or the whole healthcare delivery process. So you're going to need folks that are familiar or understand how to leverage AI from the patient intake through all the aspects of healthcare delivery to patient discharge. So you need AI experts in those areas that understand how AI works and how the tools work to better improve productivity and patient experience from the hospital and healthcare perspective. And to one other area, several more, but if you look in the legal space, right, for lawyers and new associates coming into law firms, a lot of times they put the new associates into the research area to do research cases and things like that. They help the practicing attorneys perform their jobs for their clients, either they're in court or out of court or any type of litigation. Now, the AI tools are such that it can do a lot of the case research for you. And so from a legal services perspective, a legal service delivery, you're going to need lawyers or new associates coming out of law school to be versed in AI for legal services or AI for law. And I believe a lot of universities now, law schools are having that as part of their curriculum, that understanding of AI and AI tools in that specific space in legal and legal services. So you can go to a lot of the different industries, finance. You can leverage tools to understand, do predictive analysis of trades and understand what the best course of action is for investments. And so using those tools as a financial planner will help you service your clients better. So it's the industry you're in that's going to be affected in certain ways with AI, that you will be able to leverage those tools to do your job better. But you may also need experts in your field that understand AI and how it applies to your field. And so it will open up new opportunities to focus in AI, like AI for patient care, or AI for financial services, or AI for legal research, things like that. You can come into an organization already AI ready and able to do that job, because you also have that industry knowledge as well that you bring to the table. I know companies actually look for lawyers that have AI expertise. So that's not a lot of lawyers that have AI expertise, but see that?
There's not a lot of anybody that has AI expertise just yet. I mean, if they do, they're doing something with it, right? And but you bring up, you mentioned, I think, a couple of things, or alluded to a couple of things that are going to be critical and are spaces that people could reinvent themselves in. Frankly, one of them is QC, quality control. It's not enough to have an AI that's going to do research. You need to make sure it's good research and it doesn't have drift or hallucinations, and that it is real and makes sense. But there's also the ethics side of it when it comes to compliance and ethics. And I think there's already a robust industry out there when you look at, let's just say, compliance in general, whether it's audit firms or whoever. And we have compliance in manufacturing around your ISOs. And I mean, we could go right down the thing at IEEE or whoever it is. You and I were talking the other day about
IEEE. Yeah.
Yeah. They're coming out with, this is ethical AI, or this AI works in an ethical way, and I think there's a lot underneath the hood on that. So one of the questions I would have, if I was a candidate or an employer, how critical is it to have a robust thought leadership and to get ahead of the wave of quality control, if you will, and ethical AI, with AI just really spinning out something new, it seems like, every day?
Well, it's a couple of things. One, if I'm a consumer of the AI products, I would want the vendor that I'm working with to have a policy about their software and their solutions that really details their ethical AI ethics and governance and responsible use policy. Make sure that that is baked into their offering. The offering will provide some explainability within the systems to determine, okay, how does that system determine that particular knowledge? Why did we direct the client into certain insights, and have that explainability within the tool to say, we looked at this, and this, to give that consumer of the AI products more comfort that the AI product is delivering insights that can be trusted. You want a trusted tool that delivers ethical and correct insights. And so that's why on the other end, you have to have that subject matter expert that understand what they want from the tool. And that comes down to basic, what I call software development 101, is understand the client's requirements. What are your requirements to understand what tools best fit your organization and business case for using it? And so that's the consumer, the organization, and the vendor, right? So it's an ethical piece from the vendor, make sure that it fulfills those ethical challenges, we have to meet those and requirements, and the user understanding what, from an ethical perspective, that they need from that tool. And so, and then, okay, that's from just the user community bring in a vendor's tool. But if you're inside your organization and you want to develop an AI tool, you have to follow the same type of ethical standard. So usually with a company's risk management area, you can expand your risk management area to include AI's ethical standards. You can even adopt or leverage one of the standards that are out in use today, the IEEE standard, the OECD standard. The U.S. has White House issued their standard for AI, or their guidelines around AI. I would suggest adopt a proven standard AI ethics and governance. Tailor that for your organization and align it with what your organization wants to obtain or to achieve from AI. Marry that with your risk and security profile and program that you already have, but have that specific AI piece, and then develop requirements from that to understand any AI product that you either build or bring in meets those requirements. So it's some work that has to be done. But once you do that, you got to continually monitor the products, monitor the AI responses, adapt, and evolve your own standards to continue to meet those challenges. So so that's new jobs right there with AI ethics and governance teams. So it's an ongoing type of opportunity, especially as we evolve and grow AI and the use of AI within organizations. That is going to be a key opportunity for folks to enter into.
So let me ask you this, because we've covered, metric tons of territory since we started talking. But I always like, as we get toward the end of an interview, to ask people, what's their passion project, or what's something that they put themselves into that maybe folks need to hear about, or it's just something that is near and dear to their hearts. And I warned you, always ask the question, and I wanted to know from you, Tony, what's your passion project besides writing books that help people who maybe aren't technical understand something technical and relevant?
Well, I've had this project off and on since 2015. The catalyst of this project, my mom passed of lung cancer in 2014. And so as a technologist and somebody who, really was devastated when this occurred, even though we knew about it years later and we thought we had it beat and it was fine, everything was good, but all of a sudden it came back with a vengeance and it was quick. And I was, just, beating myself up and thinking, what did I miss? How did I not see certain things that my mom was feeling that I could have maybe done something different? And so I said, well, how can I use AI, that's 2015, AI into understanding how to deliver better treatments for very specific non-small cell lung cancer. Non-small cell lung cancer is the highest, they have the highest death rates for lung cancer in the non-small cell lung cancer area. I wanted to do something that make that in lung cancer that had the most impact. And so how can I use AI to help oncologists develop better treatments? And so I went about with a team of folks at my organization, AJ Ribbon Associates, by the way, and I partnered with University of Chicago. We worked with a practicing oncologist there, and he was very helpful with his, like I said, you need a subject matter expert with his knowledge to help us design this product. We've got as far as a phase one of it, but over the years, technology, especially AI, has evolved. And so now we're taking another phase of this and looking at how we can evolve it to leverage an interface that can focus on the corpus of data around non-small cell lung cancer. And so there's many cancer sites. I'm registered with the National Institute of Health. I get all their information on the weekly basis via email, constantly looking at and researching non-small cell lung cancer. We have access or understanding of the different ontologies, the makeup of the different stages and events of non-small cell lung cancer, how those connections work. And so we leverage that those ontologies into building a knowledge graph in order to understand, when you query the graph, understand how we can gain insights from those relationships. And so what's on top of that now, we're building a large language model leveraging right now. It's our first pass at this. So it's leveraging the OpenAI API in our architecture to query this corpus of data we have from clinical trials for non-small cell lung cancer, ontologies on the relationships between the different types of different stages within non-small cell lung cancer and what happens in those stages, and marrying those things up. We also wanted to incorporate the human genome data as well, and look for a way to personalize the results, because medicine is not only, for me, what I see is an inexact science, a lot of trial and error, but it is a personalization of the treatment. Everybody's different. You may fit into some category, but within that category, you may exhibit some very different things based on your genetic makeup. And so we want to get the tool to a place that it can not only do analysis in general to get treatments and opportunities for treatment plans and things like that, but also hone it down to the individual, where we can feed individual data to our corpus of data and have our system analyze that. So it's been my kind of quote unquote pet project.
Wow.
But it's something that's
a chunk.
Put money into over the years. Yeah.
That's a big chunk.
And we're almost at a point now where we can go after funding for this product, because we want to get to a point where we can at least demo the product and have some people take a look at it to see the possibilities and possibly funding it, or possibly partnering with a healthcare institution and going from there. Because my company, we do consulting, training, and research in the knowledge management and artificial intelligence space. Now, our research, leads to other publication, but also leads to other software innovation, where we don't. My goal is not to just to be the company that owns this software and have consulting around it, whatever, but to also be able to send this software out as from a subscription point of view, or even having a medical institution buy that software for use in the masses, because we're not a medical institution, right? So, but we can feel that we can leverage technology, like we talked about earlier, with AI, to enhance and be able to help solve these pertinent problems within the healthcare industry, specifically in this case, non-small cell lung cancer. So, that's sort of my pet project.
That's a chunk for a pet project or a passion project, however you're going to look at it. And speaking as someone who's been impacted
that's better.
But speaking as someone who's been impacted by cancer, albeit not that specific one, and lost family to it, it's rough. And one of the things that I look forward to over the next 3 to 5 years is that there are a lot of people who are realizing, hey, there's got to be a way I could lever AI to tackle an interesting problem. And I focus on that one problem. And somewhere in the great melee, the great scrum of all these different minds and personalities approaching these problems, maybe from the same direction, maybe from different directions,
Right.
somewhere there, we're going to find some solutions that we didn't have before. And that's pretty exciting. And I appreciate that you're a part of that great evolution we're going through in that respect. And Tony, I really appreciate you taking the time, carving out the time to chat with me today. I think there's a lot that you bring to the table in AI knowledge management. And I would encourage anyone who's interested in those fields to look up Dr. Anthony Rhem on Amazon and pull down his book, his latest book, which is Essential Topics in AI, right? Did I get that correct? I didn't write it down. But
yes, sir. Yep.
But it's pretty pithy and it's on point. And I've had enough conversations with Tony to know that it's going to be an interesting read. And I look forward to getting a copy myself. And in the meantime, Anthony, again, thanks so much for joining us.
Well, you're welcome. And on another note, I'll be speaking about this product and how we developed it at the World Summit AI Americans in Montreal toward the end of April.
Oh, wow. All right. That'll be great. Well, you and I will be talking again soon because you'll need to update me on how that goes.
Yes, sir.
And let's see where we land. Thanks so much, Tony.
You've been listening to Drowning in the Tech Talent Pool. This podcast is sponsored by Sabretooth. Sabretooth improves the quality of hire and speeds up the time to fill specialized machine learning, data engineering, data science, and developer roles, stretching tech recruiting budgets further by bringing the precision of retained search and the speed of contingent search to the market in one complete solution. Find out more at sbr2th.com and follow me, John Light, on LinkedIn. Thanks for listening.